Welcome back to the Jake Asman Show on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Need a mortgage that fits your life? Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. You can get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
Ground ball to Gleyber Torres, and that'll do it. A no-hitter for Corey Kluber. On a Wednesday night in Texas, Kluber becomes part of forever.
Corey Kluber, he did it. First career no-hitter. Struck out 9 guys, only walked 1. He was absolutely dominant. And the Yankees needed him to be because the game was 2-0. It's not like the Yankees tacked on, 10 runs and they were cruising. They needed Corey Kluber to stay locked in. In fact, if a couple runners got on, I think Aaron Boone was pulling Corey Kluber. I think Aroldis Chapman was going to be coming into that game. I mean, that's how thin the margin was for Corey Kluber, but he was dominant. And for the Yankees, as dominant of a franchise as they have been, and the history of the Yankees, they don't exactly have a lot of guys that have thrown no hitters or perfect games in their history. They've had a couple, obviously. You could think of David Wells in 98, David Cohn in 99. They threw perfect games. Dwight Gooden in 96 threw one. But the Yankees have not had a pitcher have a no-hitter since that David Cohn perfect game in 99. So it's been a while. Since I've been conscious as a Yankee fan, I can't remember it in my lifetime. Too young to truly remember Cohn's perfect game over 20 years ago. So for Corey Kluber to go out there against his former team and do what he did, man, that's got to be special for him. And think about this. If you're a Texas Rangers fan, how ticked off are you? This guy gets traded to your team last year. You trade one of your best prospects to land him from the Indians. And he ends up pitching a grand total of, get this, 1 inning last year. 1. Then the Yankees sign him to a 1-year deal worth $11 million. Basically like a low-risk, potentially high-reward contract. I get it, $11 million is not a nothing offer, but it's not, a contract that's going to set you back if you're the Yankees. And Kluber this year is now 4-2 with a 2.86 ERA. And he now has a 1.78 ERA in his last 5 starts. He's looked like the number 2 starter the Yankees were hoping to get. And that's why that no-hitter last night is so significant. It kind of puts the stamp on Corey Kluber's return to being one of the best pitchers in the game, let's say. This is a guy that's won 2 Cy Young Awards. And what I love about Kluber is he's not a guy that's going out there and just dominating you with like 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. Corey Kluber's, arsenal of pitches is what makes him an elite pitcher. His changeup, his location, like that's what makes him fun to watch. And a no-hitter is still special. Don't give me the, everyone's doing it, so who cares if Kluber did it? A no-hitter is still special. He was dominant last night. Of the Rangers' 18 batted balls, half of them had an exit velocity of 82 miles per hour or lower. Our buddy Joe Rivera at Sporting News wrote a great column I read this morning before the show, breaking it down. 2 of the hardest hit balls of the night came in the 4th and 6th innings at a shade over 105 miles per hour. He dominated. The soft contact was apparent all night. And the significance of that no-hitter is that if the Yankees actually have Kluber healthy and he's their number 2 they could rely on, that changes the entire outlook of their team. I think eventually this Yankees team will hit. They're still not hitting like the Yankees yet. They need, obviously, Stanton to come back healthy. They need Clint Frazier to wake up. They need to find a spot for Miguel Andujar in the lineup every day because he's hitting. Right now you have Judge, LeMahieu, or Urshela. Those 3 guys you can count on. And then they need the rest of the lineup to start producing. But one thing you could say about the Yankees this year is that their pitching, outside of the abysmal April, first 2 weeks of the year, the pitching has been great. It really has. Kluber, this is not like an outlier start. He's been very good. And you're going to get Luis Severino at some point back soon. You're going to get Zach Britton at some point back soon in that bullpen. Who would have thought the issues for the Yankees this year would be their hitting? So that start last night is kind of like the cherry on top of what we've seen in this comeback story for Corey Kluber. Once again, over his last 5 starts, 1.78 ERA. In 4 May starts, he's allowed 6 runs all earned in 28 and 2/3 innings. You'll take that every time. That wasn't your typical no-hitter. That Corey Kluber's been pitching well. And that was like the cherry on top to what was an outstanding start. And what's been a really good season for a guy that had a bad couple first outings in April. He always starts slow. And now he looks like a guy that's, I don't know if he's going to be 2018 Cy Young Kluber again. But if he's 85% of that, 80% of that, and you're the Yankees with Garrett Cole already in your rotation, you'll take that anytime. Because I still think that ultimately this Yankee team will hit. And the irony of, maybe the worst hitter I've ever seen for years in Tyler Wade having to come into this game and actually, having a triple off the bench to score a run. I mean, it was a weird night. But, man, you got to feel good if you're Corey Kluber. I mean, the guy's pitched 35 innings over the last 2 years, including 1 last year. And his injuries aren't exactly like, devastating injuries. I mean, the injury he had in 2019, he took a line drive off his forearm. Last year, he had an injury, but it was only a 60-game season. So if he played a full 162, eventually he would have came back during the year. But he got hurt in July after pitching an inning. And that shut him down, basically. So, the idea that Corey Kluber was washed when the Yankees signed him, I never bought into that. And the Yankees are being rewarded for their faith in Kluber. Now they just got to find a way to start scoring some more runs. I mean, the fact that this game was only 2-0 meant that if Kluber allowed a couple base runners in that 9th inning, I'm telling you, Aroldis Chapman's coming into the game. Because he's been unhittable this year for the Yankees. He's having his best year as a Yankee. But I push back on the idea that a no-hitter is not special. But, man, baseball is going to shatter the record for most hitters in a season. The record's 7. We're at 6. And can you think of a time, Ron, where we had back-to-back days where pitchers threw a no-no? I think I read on Twitter the last time that happened was 1990. So it had been a while since we have seen 2 consecutive days where a pitcher's thrown a no-no.
And it was almost the second time this year. I don't remember who the last no-hitter was. Not the one yesterday or 2 nights ago, but the one before that. Because then the very next night, or actually, no, I'm sorry, we almost had 2 in one day. That's what it was. Remember, A's pitcher took one into the 8th inning.
Correct. And out of the 6 no-hitters this year, they've only been done against 3 teams.
Yeah.
Cleveland's been no-hit twice, right?
Yep.
The Rangers have now been no-hit twice. And obviously the other night we saw it. Seattle has now been no-hit twice.
Yep.
So it's 3 teams that have now been no-hit a combined 6 times total. That's wild.
Yeah, fire your hitting coach, guys.
And it's May 20th. The record's 7. We're at 6. I mean, how many are we going to end up with this year? What's the over-under? If you had to update the over-under in Vegas, with the total,
they had to, right? I wonder what it was at the beginning of the season.
I don't know. Can you bet on that?
I'm certain you can. Can't you bet on anything?
I mean, I feel like you can. I don't know. Can you bet on going into the year? Team totals of no hitters. I don't know. How many no-hitters could you get in a single season? But I'm telling you, the no-hitter in baseball, I still believe is special. I really do. I know some are like, oh, if everyone's getting it, what does it matter? To me, the no-hitter is still special because you're still going to want to turn on the game to see its conclusion. Unless it's your team in the game, why else are you watching a random Tigers-Mariners game the other night? Unless you're the biggest Tiger or Mariner fan. Like, unless you're a Yankee or a Ranger fan, why are you watching a random May baseball game? Well, Corey Kluber has a no-hitter. You'll tune in. So the idea that a no-hitter is no longer special, I don't buy it. It would be no longer special if we didn't care to tune in to watch it end, watch its conclusion. That hasn't happened yet. I was out last night watching the games, and I had the Yankee game up on my phone, and the people I was with are Astro fans. They're not Yankee fans. And they wanted to watch the last inning, from my backside shoulder because they wanted to watch history.
All right, let me ask you this question. We've had how many no-hitters this year?
We've had 6.
Or have we had 7?
Go on.
Madison Bumgarner.
That's right. Good point, Ron. So Mad Bum's 7-inning no-hitter technically didn't count.
No, let's do this. Mad Bum's complete game no-hitter doesn't count.
Right. It is a complete game, but according to baseball, it is not a no-hitter.
So if we add that one, we have the record.
Think about the baseball topics we've debated this year. Unwritten rules, and then Mad Bum throws a 7-inning no-hitter, and we're like, does it count? I mean, can we talk about the guys on the field, like what Ohtani's doing, some of the rivalries and matchups we've had so far? I mean, baseball is unbelievable. But you're right. I count, we talked about it at the time. When
count it.
We count it. So in our minds, we've had 7 no-hitters this year.
Yeah.
We've already tied the record.
So Corey Kluber broke the record.
No, he tied it.
Or he broke it.
Well, we're at.
Oh, no.
So
the record is 7.
The record's 7.
Okay, so he tied the record.
Corey Kluber has tied the record. That is correct.
It's going to be an ongoing. I guess we're just going to have to reach 8 or 9.
Let's ask the audience. Comment if you believe that Mad Bum's no-hitter counts, and that would mean that we're at 7 total no-hitters here in the MLB season. We've already tied the record on May 20th. What are your thoughts there? We're coming up.